Yeah, thank you very much. I think you already dipped to the most crucial part. Everybody has to trust the digital market as well. Thank you first for inviting me for this very interesting gathering of people. I expected 50, it's a bit more, so that's a good turn up. And it's also a big challenge to talk only 5 minutes about all the barriers we encounter in Europe for going cross-border. And especially, as Claire already mentioned, even if the fast checkout of PayPal isn't working, then we have a big problem. As a small introduction, I saw my position on the list that it's a really long one, but officially I'm the chair of the e-payments committee at eCommerce Europe, so I don't need any new business cards. eCommerce Europe is the association representing 25,000 merchants selling products or services online in Europe. And to put it simple, its mission is to unlock the potential of cross-border e-commerce in Europe. And by providing research on the European market, we advise policymakers how to break down barriers to cross-border e-commerce and how to work towards an integrated digital single market. Although we have a lot of research, just 2 figures for now. The e-commerce Europe sector has an accumulated value of around 370 billion and is responsible directly and indirectly for 2 million jobs in Europe. Already impressive, but for merchants there are still plenty of opportunities for growth by expanding into European markets. And therefore breaking down the barriers are crucial for us. And we also take up our role in that by educating our members, for example by developing initiatives as a sector-wide survey on barriers to going cross-border. It's still going on. We launched the Pan-European Trust Mark to foster the consumer trust. And we're developing a web portal for transparency in e-logistics, a very crucial part. But I'm here to talk about payments. But before I start about payments, just to highlight some barriers we observe. We see 28 different sets of rules, for example, data protection, contract law, parcel delivery, tax administration, and so on and so on. And we already see in our survey that the main barriers for merchants to grow cross-border are indeed fears of breaking foreign policy laws, the different VAT rules. For example, in Luxembourg you pay 15%, but in Denmark 25%. There are some bottlenecks at customs, some extra charges on payments, and again the slow and costly logistics. To put it simple, we need legal certainty through harmonization of existing legal frameworks. And already mentioned, the sector needs a European one-stop shop. A workable one, with information on VAT, taxation, data protection and privacy, etc., etc. All barriers just mentioned. And also regarding payments. And regarding payments, I can put it simple, swiftly conclude the creation of a pan-European framework for online payments, but with room for innovation at fair cost. And regarding payments, there is a lot to mention, but just let me highlight 4 topics. Interoperability, the PSD2, the e-mandate, and of course authentication. For interoperability, I think that is crucial for the payments market in Europe. It's crucial that facilitate interoperability for payment system between all member states and all online devices. We see a fast growth of m-commerce, and that is helping to drive the overall e-commerce growth. And we urge the European policymakers to facilitate this growth in their design of all payment-related policies. And interoperability between the payment systems of member states is essential to foster the cross-border trade. So please create an integral approach to the payment system market in order to create future-proof legislation. Interesting legislation is regarding the PSD2, and we welcome the revision of the first one, because we believe that the third-party payment providers, the one-click buy and wallet solution, and other initiatives can really accelerate the product development and stimulate cross-border purchases. And innovation in online banking solutions should be stimulated, as they can facilitate the mobile payments and merge online, offline, cloud and peer-to-peer payments. As also already mentioned, we believe that there should be no difference between online or offline payments. If you're in a brick and mortar shop or an online shop, it should be possible to pay with the same device and the same preference. Talking about preference, there's also the e-mandate solution. And eCommerce Europe calls on all stakeholders in the payment industry to introduce a viable and interoperable e-mandate solution, or SEPA direct debit. Because we believe it's an attractive and cost-effective way of paying in specific situations, such as recurrent payments. And legislators are asked to provide clarity on the status of these non-bank solutions to enhance the trust and use. And finally, please move forward with online identification and authentication. For now, we see too strong security and authentication requirements only pay attention to the risk of the banks, but are bad for the reach and conversion for the merchants. For example, 3D Secure isn't always that productive for the conversion for merchants, especially buying on a mobile. If you don't have the right token, the consumer will say, okay, that's too complicated, let's leave it that way. And the merchant should be able to choose other ways of identifying the customer, of the consumer, in payment transactions. Because we believe that business models based upon merchant-consumer trust relationship should be preserved. But at the same time, the pan-European e-identification mechanism and the mutual recognition of national e-ID systems could provide a significant boost for security, convenience and trust in the e-commerce market. I'm well aware that there's always a tricky balance between convenience and security, but overall the trust is there. So therefore, eCommerce Europe calls upon national governments to stimulate the development of interoperable e-ID solutions and to notify their electronic identification schemes for the mutual recognition and acceptance of pan-European ID means. Again, thank you for this opportunity. There's much more to mention, but I'm also looking forward to answer any specific questions later on. Thank you.